We have multiple updates and potential roster move. It's not a potential; it is a roster move. You know what? Let's just get into it, shall we? We'll get through the semantics later. But as you can see, Brandon Aiyuk, who is on the screen. Now, we all know what's going on. We all know the situation and all the rumor and the smoke and the whole kind of roster trigger that is going to happen with guaranteed money on April 1st. I assume you know because everyone's talking about it. But this is like the first official report from Jordan Schultz of Fox that Brandon Aiyuk and at least the San Francisco 49ers are engaging with teams about a trade. So this is the first time since we kind of rationalized that, oh, Brandon Aiyuk might actually be traded, that we have a NFL insider reporting that yes, the San Francisco 49ers are engaged in active talks with other teams, multiple teams, about a potential trade of Brandon Aiyuk. Following? So it doesn't mean that Brandon Aiyuk will get traded. Schultz actually goes on to say that it is looking unlikely. The belief is that it is unlikely that Brandon Aiyuk will be traded based on the contract situation and based on his injury. So again, that's all kind of what we've heard. We heard Diana Rossini earlier in the week say the same thing about how she doesn't expect him to get traded for those same reasons. But this is the first actual report from an insider that confirms the 49ers are engaged in talks with multiple teams. To me, that is the real newsworthy piece that has come out of this information in an article written by uh, Schultz. So I don't think anyone's surprised by this. I think it's pretty abundantly clear in how everyone's been speaking about this is that this is kind of the expectation, but it's the first time it's actually being reported. That is the difference. And so I'm bringing it to you. You can do that information with what you would like. Also, this is the roster move, I guess, that has occurred. 49ers defensive lineman Sam Okiwanu has signed his 1-year exclusive rights tendered contract. So we know he was tendered, and this was the expected outcome, but it is official. So he will be under 49ers control next season. And as it stands right now, he's looking like he's going to have a very, very big role. Now, granted, there's a NFL draft coming up, and the 49ers could make some trades, whether for more picks or additional players. That is also an option as well. But Sam O is signed, sealed, and delivered. So that is good news. So, this situation with Brock Purdy, obviously, he is an ongoing contract negotiation. I've talked about this before with this particular situation. At a certain point, when we know there is an active negotiation going on, sometimes a non-update is an update. Yes, I know you might be like, Brad, you're insane. I'm sorry. But this is how it goes when you got to cover the 49ers and their contract negotiations throughout the offseason. So I'm just going to read to you this little excerpt of what is being said here. So this is what Jordan writes. There is no doubt who the 49ers quarterback of the future is, Brock Purdy. While sources don't believe a contract extension is imminent, Fox Sports has learned that both sides are actively negotiation with the intent to finalize a deal before 2025. So again, what I'm kind of referencing as we already kind of know this. We know this information. We've probably heard this term, a contract extension isn't imminent, from Palacero, from Garofolo, from probably Rossini, from Mike Silver. Now we hear from Jordan Schultz. So that information isn't new. This is the other pertinent part of what he said about Brock Purdy. He says the bigger question is, what will the terms be? Early in the 2024 season, it seemed possible that Purdy could surpass Dak Prescott's $60 million annual clip with the Cowboys if he had another stellar campaign and a deep playoff run. While that now seems less likely, multiple sources insist that Purdy could still land anywhere from 50 to 55 million or potentially more. This is me reading all of this, just looking out the window, staring off into the sunset of like, this is the life of 49er fans. This is what uh you guys have to deal with. This is what I have to talk about is, these things come out and it's basically a non-update, but at a certain time a non-update can be perceived as an update to say that nothing has changed in a negotiation where you want to see things change, right? I think you're following. The bottom line is, guess what? A Brock Purdy deal isn't imminent. The 49ers want Brock Purdy to be their quarterback, and it could be anywhere from 50 to 60. So there you go. So I guess the point of the update is that there's no update. To say that actually nothing has progressed. There aren't any closer to getting a deal done. There hasn't been any changes, deviations. They're still on getting something done. Plan to be done by 2025, which again, we've heard the speculation about the 49ers forcing Brock to play on the final year of his deal, which would be silly in my opinion. But again, it's the leverage that they do have, and they could execute it if they wanted to. Although I recognize that I don't believe that's good business in the NFL, it is something that they could do at the risk of alienating the player and potentially the locker room, considering the quarterback is the leader of the team. And if you're alienating the leader of the team, that's another bridge that you have to cross. So I think the goal, just like Schultz said, is to get this done by the start of next season. They don't want this to linger in a training camp. They don't want this to linger into the year. You don't want to hold out. We don't want any of those things. So status quo remains very similar with the 49ers. So we'll see. Again, we're going to get to stages in this process where non-updates become updates because it hasn't changed. You're following. I think you're following. You get it. Don't yell at me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.